Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The bold and the beautiful spoilers. Hope and Carter's fast engagement accepts ring on finger in Thomas snub. The bold and the beautiful B&B. Spoilers reveal that Hope Logan, Annika Noel, is finally ready to put Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, behind her. Although Hope tried to do that by chasing after John Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, that plan was obviously a disaster. However, Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, just might be Hope's chance at genuinely moving on with her life. Hope found the idea of Thomas being a one-woman man appealing, but she still couldn't commit to being married to him. Of course, Hope was always full of excuses when it came to her repeated rejections of Thomas. Although Hope wore Thomas' engagement ring on her necklace for a while, she just couldn't put it on her finger and give him the true commitment he wanted. That's why Thomas ultimately left town at Steffi Forrester's, Jacqueline Massinswood, urging. It was Thomas' opportunity to let go of Hope and find someone else. So that's exactly what he did when he fell for Paris Buckingham, Diamond White, and got engaged to her instead. Now it might be Hope's turn to get engaged to someone other than Thomas. What if Carter sweeps Hope off her feet and decides to pop the question sooner rather than later? Carter might get down on one knee with a new ring and surprise Hope by asking if she'll be his wife. That's when Hope might surprise even herself by accepting Carter's proposal and realizing Thomas was always the problem when it came to her engagement delay. Hope might determine that she's been waiting on someone who is truly marriage material in her eyes. Someone who checks all the boxes like Carter and doesn't have a weird history of stalking her. Carter has a habit of jumping into romances head first and falling extra hard, so it's not far-fetched to think he'll propose to Hope in the not-too-distant future. Most B&B characters are eager to move into the engagement phase, so Hope and Carter could end up planning a wedding soon enough. How do you feel about Carter and Hope as a romantic duo? Are you rooting for Hope and Carter to live happily ever after, at least for a nice stretch of time? Our predictions hint that Hope might snub Thomas a bit by accepting Carter's engagement ring eventually, so stay tuned for updates on any huge news for this fresh pairing. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Hope will have to make some big decisions about what her future is going to look like. The city of Los Angeles was abuzz with more fashion gossip than ever, and yet no one saw this twist coming, least of all Thomas Forrester. While Thomas had been clinging to the hope of rekindling his complicated romance with Hope Logan, everything came crashing down the moment she flashed that sparkling engagement ring from none other than Carter Walton. The moment felt like it was torn from the pages of a plotline far too wild for even a soap opera. But here it was playing out in real life. Hope, the woman who had always been torn between her desire for stability and the intoxicating allure of her feelings for Thomas, had just made the most unexpected move in her romantic history. She said yes to Carter Walton in what could only be described as a whirlwind engagement. In doing so, she didn't just snub Thomas, she broke his heart in a way that may be impossible to repair. The beginning of an unexpected romance. Carter and Hope had always been in each other's orbit, sharing occasional conversations and moments of camaraderie through their mutual connections at Forrester Creations. Carter, the ever-loyal friend and dashing TOO, was usually known for his calm demeanor and professional acumen. After his devastating breakup with Quinn Fuller, he had buried himself in work, trying to forget the heartache that came with losing yet another woman he thought could be his forever. Hope, too, had her share of emotional turmoil, being stuck in the endless roller coaster of feelings surrounding her marriage to Liam Spencer and her complicated, often dangerous, pull toward Thomas Forrester. Though she tried to deny it for so long, everyone could see the tension, the sparks that flew every time she was near Thomas. But something inside Hope shifted in recent months. The weight of Thomas' obsessive tendencies and his questionable actions had pushed her to the edge, and she found herself seeking solace in unexpected places. Enter Carter. What started as comforting conversations over coffee turned into something far more profound. Carter wasn't complicated, manipulative, or driven by years of obsession. He was honest, dependable, and exactly the type of man Hope had always said she wanted in her life. Their connection deepened quickly, to the shock of many, and before anyone knew it, whispers of their burgeoning relationship began to swirl around Forrester Creations. Thomas spirals out of control for Thomas. Watching Hope and Carter grow closer was a slow and torturous kind of pain. He had believed that after all they had been through, their connection was undeniable, irreplaceable. Hope was supposed to see that too, but instead, every time he tried to inch closer, she pulled away. The more Hope avoided him, the more desperate Thomas became. His mind raced with memories of their almost kisses, the charged moments in the office, the times he was sure Hope would finally fall into his arms. But instead of the passionate reunion he longed for, he watched her fall for someone else. And not just anyone, Carter Walton, the man Thomas had never considered a romantic rival. The situation took a darker turn when Thomas saw Hope's engagement ring, that simple yet dazzling symbol of everything he could never give her: stability, peace, and a future untainted by the mistakes of his past. Thomas' fury grew with each passing day, and it wasn't long before his obsession with Hope began to resurface in dangerous ways. He started making questionable decisions at Forrester, lashing out at coworkers, and brooding over every little detail of Hope's new relationship. His sister, Steffi, tried to intervene, reminding him that Hope's happiness should be his priority, but Thomas was too far gone to listen. The engagement shocks everyone. The engagement itself was a quiet affair, announced during an intimate dinner with close friends. Brooke Logan, who had been skeptical about Thomas from the start, was thrilled when she heard the news of Hope and Carter's engagement. She always worried that her daughter would fall back into Thomas' dangerous web, so seeing her choose someone like Carter, a man with no hidden agenda, was a relief. Ridge Forrester, on the other hand, had mixed feelings. He respected Carter deeply, but he also knew how much this would hurt his son. Ridge had always been Thomas' biggest supporter, even when his son's actions were hard to defend. But watching Thomas unravel over Hope's decision filled Ridge with concern. How would Thomas react to such a public rejection? For Liam Spencer, Hope's ex-husband, the news stirred up complicated emotions. He had moved on with Steffi, and yet, seeing Hope with someone else still stung. He knew Carter was a good man, but part of him still remembered the love he once shared with Hope. It was a chapter of his life he wasn't quite ready to close, despite the fact that his life with Steffi was flourishing. But the most shocking reaction came from Quinn Fuller. After all, she and Carter had shared an intense, secret romance that nearly destroyed her marriage to Eric. When she learned of Carter's engagement to Hope, it reignited old feelings of jealousy and regret. Quinn had walked away from Carter, believing it was the right thing to do, but now, seeing him move on so quickly with Hope, made her wonder if she had made a terrible mistake. Hope's new path. As for Hope, her decision to accept Carter's proposal wasn't one she made lightly. She had spent so many years being torn between her feelings for Liam and Thomas, constantly wondering if she was making the right choices for her family. But with Carter, things felt different. There were no strings attached, no past baggage to unpack. He was exactly what she needed: a fresh start, a chance to build a life without the constant push and pull of complicated exes. Hope knew that by accepting Carter's ring, she was closing the door on Thomas forever. It was a decision that pained her, knowing how deeply Thomas cared for her. But she also knew that his love was the kind that could easily turn dark, and she had already been burned by that fire once before. With Carter, she felt safe, emotionally, mentally, and physically. What happens next? The engagement of Hope Logan and Carter Walton has set the stage for new alliances, betrayals, and heartbreaks in Los Angeles. With Thomas spiraling, Quinn reeling, and everyone else adjusting to this new reality, there's no telling what's in store for the couple. Will Hope and Carter's love survive the pressures of the Forrester family drama, or will outside forces tear them apart before they even make it to the altar? One thing is certain, nothing in this world stays quiet for long.